So I'm trying to come up with another idea of what to put in resin to give as a gift. And I can't think of anything and it's bugging me. That's right, nerds, it's Skittles. I think it will make a wonderful addition to dice. It's actually pretty big. We might only be able to fit one Skittle per. But I think that's going to be awesome. I have a friend who absolutely loves Skittles. His favorite things in the world are McDonald's double cheeseburgers and Skittles. And I think with some clear resin epoxy, these Skittles inside a dice will make an excellent Christmas gift for the nerd who loves sugar. So for materials, you need the mold silicone that I made in the last video, and I'll put that bing right up there so that you can go check out how I did that and what I used. You need your scientifically accurate half a tablespoon, 2 tablespoon, 4 tablespoon measurements for how to pour the epoxy mixture. This right here, amazing Alumilite casting resin, and a convenience store bag of Skittles. Now, you'd think, aha, put a Skittle in there, pour resin over it, call it good, you've got some dice. But you're wrong, because then the sides won't have any resin on them. So you have to put a little bit in there first, is my imagining. Because if I just put one in there, like say this Skittle, right? And it pours over it, that's great. But the sides where the Skittle's touching the silicone first won't have any resin. And that just won't work. So, and these Skittles are actually bigger compared to dice than I thought. Let's line one up here compared to the dice that we did last time. One Skittle will fit in nice to most of them. Maybe it would be funny if the D4 had like a half a Skittle or pounded up Skittle or something, but we'll see what we can do. So I'm going to mix a 1-to-1 mixture of these two resins. So first things first, you gotta pour part A of your resin. And this is only scary to me because I have to look under the camera while I pour and make sure I don't go over the exact line. And I mean, you gotta be exact with this stuff. The first one I was like a milliliter over and it just came out horrible. So let that be a lesson to you. Buy a food scale, but don't use a scientifically accurate liquid measuring system. Just go buy the cups that have measurements on the side. Last time, this seemed to work just hunky-dory fine for me. This is 100% far too much clear resin. But this problem as well of overpouring could also be avoided if you buy the cups that have measurements on the side. So I think, or if you have a food scale, either one. The moral of the story is don't do it the way I do it. Do it the way I tell you to. Same deal as before. We have to mix this thoroughly. Oh God, it almost spilled. That would have been the end of my life. We have to mix it thoroughly for a good 2 minutes. So do that. And now, like I said, we're going to take just a tiny little bit, enough so that the bottom on each of these has a bit of resin, but not enough to where pushing the Skittle down will make any ooze out. Just enough so that the bottom actually has resin in it. And we'll do that for each one of these. Don't miss. I'm gonna miss. It's okay. But you'll notice there are 7 of these dice molds because that's how many dice there are in a full set of Dungeons & Dragons dice. It is 2 D10s, one with a 0 at the end of each of them to represent the tenths place in a percentage, one with the just regular values to represent the ones place. Oh God, I'm really worried about the D4. A D12, a regular D8, a D6, a D4, and a D20. And now you know your sets. And now we get to pick which color Skittle we want in each dice. For this part, normally it's not a big deal, but I can't stress enough how much you're gonna want these gloves, because as you put these in, you're gonna get something on them. So I'm thinking for the big dice, the D20 and the D6, we will do green Skittles. For the two D10s, we will do yellow Skittles. I think that's a good combo. For the D4, we will do a orange Skittle. For the D8, we'll do a red one. And the D12, we'll do the purple Skittle. The D6 and the D20 are going to be the same color because they're the most used. And the two D10s are going to be the same color because they're both D10. So that makes sense to me. That's what we're doing. So I don't have a ton of time to mix this. It's got a little bit of decent working time, but not a lot. And I've already forgot what color Skittles we said we're going where. Well, I'm gonna take my best guess because I know my best self, right? So let's place that Skittle right in there. I'll get down in there. No, I wanted you sideways. There. Oh, no, you were good for a minute. Oh, it's so slippery and it pushes right out. Normally the Skittle stays down. That sucks. Shoot. Dang it. I don't know if the D4 is going to work for a Skittle. We'll have to revisit that. So unfortunately, the D4 doesn't even fit a Skittle, so I'm going to have to try and like crush one up and put it in, but we'll get to that after we get these others. I want to get at least the other ones in. D6. Bam, you get a Skittle. I'm not going to put 2 because I know you won't fit 2. D20. You get a Skittle. You probably can hold 2. And I'm going to do a bold move here, just a reckless move and put 2. That'll identify you as the D20 anyway. Actually, I'm gonna put 3. Nope, that was a dumb move. Okay, I tried to be smart, but 2's it. That's what we can do. Okay, so now let's get the yellow ones on the D10s. Okay, so there's one there. Shoot, the D10s are the same style. They're the diagonals. Sorry, the camera's probably going all over the place. So the red one is going to be the D8, excellent. The purple one will be the D12. Purple one, you know what? We'll risk this one too. I think that one fits too as well. Oh, but no, that's what made the D20 special. Whatever, D12 and D20 both have 2 because they're the highest numbers. And D4, we're gonna have to crush something to put it in U. So you might be asking yourself, well, what's in there? And it's crushed up Skittles. Look, I don't have a lot of mixing time on this, and I'm thinking on my feet here. So crushed up Skittles it is. I tried to like fold one in half and fit it in. I don't know why I thought that would work. I was under a lot of pressure by myself. So you're just gonna have to deal and we will fill up the rest. So what have we learned? Planning is important. Test this before you do something. The D20s I think are gonna look really good. Most of them, I'm really happy with how clear it actually is. I didn't think it would be. And unfortunately, all of the Skittles bits have shrunk to the bottom. However, since I made sure the bottom was number 4 on the D4, it'll just look really good when you get a critical hit. You'll have all the Skittles pieces right on one side. You might even be able to lick it and get a taste. Don't do that. This is not food grade epoxy. The only logical thing to do with the rest of the Skittles and the redonkulous excess amount, oh no, there's epoxy on these on my hand, is to fill this up with epoxy and make a Skittles sickle out of it because you've got nothing else to do with it. If you're wondering how to be dumb for the day, this is how you do it. Put a little bit of your gold resin powder in there and oh no. It has been about a week of curing. I tried to see if time would make them come out better than throwing them in the oven. I was afraid to throw Skittles in the oven. I didn't know if it might brown them or melt the candy inside, but I think they came out looking beautiful, don't you? They're very shiny. You can very much tell there's a Skittle in them. There's nothing on this side because it's number 1, but you can identify the letters, and I think they're going to be awesome presents and gifts. So I'm going to actually turn the flash on because that's how you can see they are really, really pretty. The camera doesn't do it justice because it's just a phone camera, but you can see them very, very well. There's only minor touch-ups that need to be done on them. You can see tiny little bubbles that have gone on the surface, but those you can either just literally almost flick off with your finger, or you can take really high-grade sandpaper to them and then give them a polish, and they'll look just fine. So I think they came out great as a project. One thing I would do differently, and I would have done this myself had I had the materials for it, is when you're done pouring, take a torch just lightly to the top of them after 10 minutes or so of it sitting, and that'll help remove some of the bubbles. There are tiny bits of bubbles in there. That's fine. If anything, it makes it a little bit better because the little bits of bubbles, since I'm not going to put any paint in the numberings on these, make it so you can see the insides of the dice better, or the insides of the numbers. I'm not going to put paint on them. I think that would distract from the Skittles on the inside. It's not hard to look. Shadows of any sort of light can identify, like, oh, you can see that one's a 7, this one's a 60. It's harder to see on camera, but it's actually really easy to see in person. Now, the one with the crushed up Skittles came out a little differently. Kind of hid it in the back because it's not as good as the others, but it still works. And the number 4 is the critical hit part that has all the Skittles on one end. Now, the other thing is they are not weighted. I was worried about them coming out like, oh man, it's gonna land on a 20 every single time because the Skittles sunk to the bottom. But they work. I've gotten every single number off of them, so they're playable dice. And they look really pretty. I'm thinking next time I have something a little special in mind for Halloween, but I think these Skittles dice came out beautiful and I think they look great. Maybe give me some ideas for what else you might like to see in epoxy, and I might try that out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to see more, and if not, also check out some of the gaming videos I do. I like to do both things, make nerdy stuff and play games. So thanks for watching. You rock, Skittles fans. And in case you were wondering what the popsicle came out like, well, I have a treat for you because, one, it looks awesome, but there is no way to get this out of there. I can't even bend or break the tiny plastic cup because enough plastic went around the top that it is a solid rock now. So there's nothing to be done here. If I had a lathe, I could turn it and then we could see all the beautiful gold on the inside, but I can't even break the plastic off to find it without using some sort of chisel. So it's awesome, it looks cool, but I'm gonna get rid of it, and I kinda wish I had made some gold Skittles dice, so that's an idea.